This is one of my favourite gravers. It's a lozenge and I use it for lifting grain and tidying up bright cutting and around pave setting. And in a previous life it used to be a 3 square needle file. As you can see, there's still some teeth on there that I've ground most of them off, but never throw your needle files away. Doesn't matter how worn out they are, you can still recycle them and turn them into gravers. The best shapes to do that are the square file and the 3 square file. Don't try and use a flat file like this. There's too much flex, so just make sure that it's a nice stiff piece of steel, and this is the best part here, so don't try and use the handle either. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this square needle file into a graver, and it's a little bit thin down this end, so I'm going to chop it off around about here, and that'll give me plenty of room to work on this part here, and this part will go into the handle, but I'm not going to throw away the handle of the needle file because that can be a punch or a pusher, and in this case I'll probably make it into a pusher, but one that's shaped like this, because this one's great for finishing off claws. Before you start cutting steel, remember safety, wear your goggles and your dust mask. I'm going to first of all cut the old handle of the needle file off. This part is quite soft, so it should be quite easy to get through. Then I'll grind it to a point and put it in the new handle. If you're not familiar with these discs, they come like that and you have to screw them in, so you get the shaft and then you get the disc separately. They break very easily, so be careful of that. So I'll cut so far and now I'll break it off. I'm recycling an old handle as well, so I just need to put a point on that and push it in. It's already drilled out there. Now the handle's got a flat spot that I like to rest on the table and have the blade facing down, so I'm going to make sure that that part corresponds to what will be the blade of the graver. So I'll just check the angle's correct there, it looks okay, and just tap it on carefully. Now the steel is quite brittle, it can break, so strike it nice and square. Going to go anywhere this, so I don't need to whack it too far on. Once you've got a graver that works well in your hand and you know the length, then you can just read off from that, so you know where to cut off. I'm just going to add a couple of mil to that to allow for a bit of grinding down and give me a little bit of extra wear and tear. So I'll put it there, gain safety, and also take your time. You don't want the steel here getting too hot. Check it's not getting too hot. And I'll break that off again. Square graver's the easiest one to shape, I think anyway, so all I need to do is angle it at 45 degrees from the point there, what will be the blade there. So I'm going to use the same disc and cut it back and make sure that I correspond the flat part of the handle to the what's going to be the new tip. So again, don't let it get too hot. Let it cool again. And hopefully you've got a shape like that. So whilst I'm still using this tool, I'm going to get rid of the teeth around the blade there, so I'll just do it this way. A lot easier than using the grinder. Again, don't let it get too hot. I'm keeping my finger on top so I can feel it. Keep allowing the steel to cool down. It doesn't get too hot using this disc. And the good thing about this as well is I can rest against the screw part of the shaft there as well. So you can see the shine's coming to the end, the teeth are coming off. It's not overly important to carry that on down the rest of the tool. It's up to you, as long as it's off where the cutting will be done. Now these do break easily if you put too much pressure on, so just watch that. Now I'm ready to finish off the end there, so I can get the best cut by looking straight down on the blade there and just putting it to the disc. And there's a couple of deep scars on the surface there, so I've got quite a bit to grind off. And again, I'm going to have to watch that it doesn't get too hot. I'll just emery the sides just to get rid of any lines. We want it nice and polished towards the tip. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grind off the part of the graver that we're not going to need, because that just makes more to sharpen when it comes to keeping the graver working well. So this is the part we're going to take out here, and I'm not going to use the cutting disc that I've just been using because it takes too long, so I'm going to very carefully do that on my grinder. Now this is a much more aggressive cutting tool, so a case of cutting and dipping it in water, cut again, dip in water. I'll keep doing that until I've got rid of the black mark. If you're as anal as I am with your tools, then you can just finish off that cut with your split mandrel and just get rid of the lines. I just like to get it nice and clean at the end there. And all you should be left with then, where the cutting blade is a triangular shape. So that's pretty much done. I'm going to just work on the two sides that are left. Make sure they're perfectly clean and no lines at all, and finish with 2000 emery, and you should be able to see it shine then. So now it's ready for sharpening and trying out. So I'll do it the way I'm used to doing it, which is to hold it on my easy lap and lift it up until I've reached the 45-degree angle and the point of the graver should be in contact with the easy lap, and a few shakes and you should be able to see that it's cut all the way across the face of the graver. Just need a little bit more, and that's okay. Stick it in some wood, and I've 2000 emery the sides there, but I'm going to give them a polish, and I'm going to use this product. It's called Polinum, and it's a polishing compound mainly for platinum, but it's great for steel as well. So this is just leather I'm using as well. Bit of a rub on that and get a really good bright finish on that. And if you haven't got that, then you can use hyphen or even triply. just finish off on my polishing cloth. And now I've got a beautiful polish finish on the sides of the graver, and that'll leave its impression on the work. So I'll try that out now. Okay, I've just got an old piece of brass, and first of all I'll just try and do a straight line, see how I get on. It cuts really nice, and if you're new to using a graver, then just try lifting grain. So just a push and lift up, and you'll see a little grain just lift itself there, and you can bead that down if you've got a beading tool. And the more practice at this you get before you even take on a setting lesson, then the better place you'll be when you do start. So lots of practice. This is a good graver for doing your star setting as well. And before you start, you should be sticking it just in your thumbnail and just making sure it holds itself in there. There we have it, one recycled needle file, and now a very useful graver. Hope you enjoyed.